Yeah, I'm thinking about how we've heard plenty of people talk in the past about, uh, you know, understanding that patient in front of you that day at that moment and what their symptoms are telling you. So, the comment and the cliche that Mark Miller's known to say, that we assess and we assess and we assess until there's nothing left to assess, and looking, okay, what's the right thing for this patient at this moment. And that's that individualized nature that I think that MDT does have. But it also, I think, takes in consideration a lot of what CFT and Peter O'Sullivan and people like him are wanting out there as clinicians for us to be constantly doing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree totally.
Yep. Yep. So, so in light of, we're always trying to hear these experts out there and think, okay, how can this impact me to where my behavior with patients might change for the better? What are you thinking about in the next few weeks and months when you see patients with disabling chronic back pain, and how might you react and behave a bit differently than maybe you have in the past?
I don't think I will actually, because there's nothing new from the system. It's more that it make this talk about with Peter made it clear that he's talking about the minor population of the disabling. But otherwise, I'm quite aware of those other stuff. So I don't think I really need to change. That's maybe a dangerous things to say, but yeah, I think I'm aware enough to know where what I can handle and what I can't, and which I should refer on to other
Mm-hmm.
therapists
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Yeah, I think you and I are probably pretty similar in that we find out what's important to the patient. What do you really need? And what are you here for? Well, I want to be able to get a good night's sleep, or I want to be able to, and it's because of this pain that I'm having that I can't. And so that's a common thing that we hear all day long with patients. But from a perspective of thinking about lifestyle change, we hear it from Annie O'Connor, and we hear it from Charlotta Crow, and from many others who are so astute, and they handle things so well from looking at the patient's whole being, and considering those factors that might be playing into it. So I think we're sensitive to listening for those things to maybe a greater degree than some, perhaps, and probably we may need to improve in other areas like that. But I think that Peter's comments to me just heightened that awareness a touch more. So for me, I'm thinking, okay, let's just continue to do what we're doing, but also in the patient who does seem like it might be in that 30% or whatever small minority of patients who are stuck in this problem of recurrence and chronicity, maybe listening to lifestyle considerations and relationships that those people are having and how they're doing at this moment from a mental well-being, I might be maybe a bit more keen on.
Yeah, you're right. But I remember the Charlotte Krog's talk also, and she have made them every time they filled in how the relationship was, but how different things were, and it was very helpful after to hear her do that. I don't think I'm starting with it just yet, but it sounded really good actually, the way she talked about it and the way she uses it
Yep.
in her work.
Yeah, I think it's in that minority of the group. That's the thing that I have to constantly keep reminding myself. Okay, we don't need to go jumping on that originally. It may just be a very simple, hey, I've got a problem. I'm not too worried about it. I just don't want it there. Let's fix it, and I'll move on with my life. And so with those patients, it's a quick in and out, perhaps, but being watchful for any barriers like you had mentioned. Hear the entire episode for free on iTunes, Spotify, other favorite podcast players, or go to mechanicalcareforum.com.